You know, real sheriffs have desks. What's up with that?
Well, I would have to stand in ankle deep water to be at my desk. And I haven't been issued my life preserver yet. So
nice. And I hear you got a little bit of construction going on there, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, I'm literally at somebody's table in their office. I don't even have an office or a desk or anything right now.
You got a lot of pull there, don't you?
I know, right? At least I got a good parking space.
You got the #1 parking spot. That's
right.
Thanks for being here, Michelle. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have 55 folks.
Good morning, everyone. This is Wade Davis from Lutheran Services joining y'all's call.
Morning.
Good morning. This is Michelle Goitier with Episcopal Children's Services.
Good morning. This is Kathy Schofield with the STEM 2 Hub.
Morning.
Good morning. This is Patrick Hale with Mercy Support Services.
Why are you home? Do you not have an office either?
I do have an office. I have a long day today. I have a 6:30 meeting. I have a 6:30 board meeting, so I'm taking a late start.
Well, Ernie, some of us even have to take it from our car, so.
You know, don't everybody get an attitude already. Come on, it's too early for that.
Oh, come on,
never too
Ernie.
early
We
for
like
an
to play.
attitude.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Ernie, I got to step away for just about 1 minute. I'll be right back. Okay.
Don't forget us.
I won't. No, sir.
Okay.
Janie doesn't have an attitude ever.
Janie never has an attitude.
Just a troublemaker is all. No.
That's right.
No, that's my New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it's already, what's today? January 21st. You've been a good girl so far.
Yes, I have.
Uh-huh. Are you and Bruce closer than ever now?
Well, yeah, with this pandemic, it's like I'm scared. We're both starting to look alike.
Uh-huh. Joanne wants the pandemic over. She said she's totally sick of me.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you?
I think wives might be able to say, well, sometimes maybe. I mean, and not that we don't love y'all to death.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but we, sometimes it's good to have a little alone time.
We have 63 people.
Janie, it's the death part I'm worried about. You love us to death. That's the part I'm worried about.
That I will love you all to death. Yes,
To
I
death,
will
yeah.
always.
There you go.
Yep, absolutely. Good to see you, Patrick.
It's good to not see you. You're
Oh,
not
boy.
even there. Where are you?
I'm here. I'm here. Believe me, I am.
Do we give it another minute?
Yeah.
How many are on? 64? Andre Van Heerden, how are you this morning?
I'm blessed. Blessed
Amen.
beyond belief. How are you,
Amen.
Patrick?
I
Good to
am
see you
well.
all.
Andre, I haven't seen you since your 65th birthday. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Heather. I've been talking about you lately. I've been talking to several people and saying, do you know Heather McDonald?
Oh, that's enough to make me nervous. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Heather McDonald with Clay County Schools.
Did you put in your application to be a part of this group yet? I didn't see anything come across my desk here.
No, because I know you'll deny it.
Right, smart.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Michelle, are you all settled in now back?
Yes, sir, I am.
You ain't going anywhere anymore, are you?
I hope not.
Okay, good girl.
We seem to have leveled off at 66 for the moment. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Here comes another, and just as I say that. So welcome to the January 2021 meeting of the Clay SafetyNet Alliance. My name is Don Fan. I work with the Way Free Medical Clinic, and I am proud and pleased to be working with all of you in this important group that supports solving problems for our county. And if I could appeal to Pastor Andre for an opening prayer.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Let's have an opening prayer. Father in heaven, we come before you today, recognizing our great need, individually, but also corporately as a county, and Lord, as a nation. And this morning, I just want to pray for your spirit to remind us who you are, that you are the creator of heaven and earth, that you are the sustainer of the universe, that you can provide, you can give us resources, you can give us more wisdom, you can give us unity, and you can bring revival amongst us. I thank you for the blessing that you've given to the Clay SafetyNet Alliance over all these years and for all that we've accomplished. And I pray that today as we meet, that you'll continue your blessing and your provision. Thank you for every organization represented here today, God. Just incredible if we have to sit back and think of what each organization contributes to making Clay County a safe, well-resourced county. And we thank you for always hearing and answering our prayers. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, Andre. Welcome to everyone, and welcome to especially those who are joining us for the first time. Our registration process is easy. Just put your name and your title, your organization, your email and phone number into the chat, and we will get you on the email blast list. And, 2021 is looking to be potentially a better year than the year that we just left. I think all of us hope for that. And I think that it presents some opportunity for us as a SafetyNet Alliance to take a look at what we do and how effective we are, and collect some impact information and data from all of us so that we can map out 2021 for the Alliance. And I think that we also have an opportunity, hopefully, to gear up for face-to-face meetings at some point. We don't really know what the timing of that is, but we hope that that will possibly occur in this year, depending on the vaccine progress. So keep that in mind. I think we'll come up with some different types of organizational building exercises as we go into the meetings in early 2021. So, Ernie.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year to you guys. And I'll echo what Don says. Hopefully this will be a better and easier year for all of us moving forward. Hopefully we're going in the right direction now. Thank you guys for taking the time to be here today and this month and every month. We appreciate it. The organization continues to grow. We get unbelievable support on Zoom. You know, we had a little bit higher attendance when we're meeting in person, but it hasn't dropped off substantially. So we're all very grateful for that. For those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Ernie Cohen. I represent two nonprofit agencies here in Clay County, Clay Behavioral Health Center and Kids First of Florida. But in addition to that, I am proud to be a part of the Clay SafetyNet Steering Committee, which is a group of people behind this group, which actually puts a lot of thought into these meetings every month. We try to focus on getting topics and keynote speakers that have an everlasting and a unanimous interest for those in the community. And it doesn't happen easy. There's a lot of discussion. So I'm proud to be a part of that group. And I also want to recognize the others that are part of that steering committee. Andre Van Heerden, who was one of the driving forces behind the beginning of this group many years ago. Thank you, Andre. Don Fan from the Wave Free Medical Clinic, who is our chair of the safety committee of the steering committee meeting. Thank you, Don. Amy Parker, executive director of the Reinhold Foundation. Thank you, Miss Amy. Patty Atkinson from the Sheriff's Department. Patty is involved in the jail and she does a big job for them. Thank you, Patty. Callan Brown from the Nonprofit Center of Northeast Florida. Callan's very active in the community. We appreciate all she does. President, CEO, founder, whatever else he is, from web904.com, Mr. Mark Carillon. Janie Fox, who does a lot of volunteer work in the community, specifically with Mercy Support Services and Village Improvement Association. Kathy Garsky, also a volunteer for Mercy. We appreciate you as well, Kathy. Patrick Hale, talking to us today from his beautiful dining room table, CEO of Mercy Support Services. Michaela Buchanan, who is the executive director of the Clay Educational Foundation, as part of our steering committee. And last but not least, Gabrielle Gunn, who represents Impact Clay on our steering committee, is also a crucial part of it. So thank you to all you guys for putting in the extra hours to make these meetings successful. We appreciate it. And I will turn it over to Mark Carillon.
Good morning, everybody. Happy January 2021. Exciting times lie ahead. Yes, this is my time to remind you to like, share, and get the word out so that we can get more people in these meetings. And we can also share the replays of these meetings, especially throughout the nonprofit and church communities. We need more pastors and those flocks over here. So thank you all for being here, and let's have a great year.
Are you in your new luxurious office?
I am.
Very nice.
COVID free.
It's always important to remember that the safety net is literally a net and a network, and social media is one of our biggest ways to build that net and tighten the holes in the net. So I think we can go right into introduction, Ernie.
So I mentioned to you guys that a lot of thought goes into these meetings, trying to get keynote speakers that have a blanket of interest to most in the community, and I think we hit the jackpot today. There's a new sheriff in town, as most of you know, and we reached out to Michelle and Denise Flack, who is her executive assistant, and they made this happen today. I know she's got a lot going on. One day soon, maybe she'll actually have a desk in an office of her own. Hopefully that's happening soon. But she was very cooperative, as well as Denise, in making her appearance possible this morning here. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce your sheriff, Sheriff Michelle Cook.
Good morning. Good morning. I apologize if I'm losing my voice a little bit, but first of all, thank you so much for having me. Really excited that there's so many fantastic people on this call. This is definitely the group to be plugged in with. But I wanted to share with you all a little bit about what we've been doing here at the Clay County Sheriff's Office, our priorities for 2021, and then our 2020 year in review, which is more statistics and numbers driven. But before I do that, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Clay County, and back in 1987, I graduated from Clay High School and wanted to go into law enforcement. Interestingly enough, the Clay County Sheriff's Office wouldn't hire me unless I wanted to be a detective, and I really wanted to ride road patrol. So I ended up going into Jacksonville and was hired by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I worked there for 26 years and under 4 different sheriffs, and worked my way up through the ranks, officer, sergeant, lieutenant, assistant chief, chief. And when I retired as the director of operations, I was the number 3 person at the JSO, which is the 25th largest agency in the country, had over 1,000 personnel that reported to me, $100 million budget, led the 1,000 special events that occurred in Jacksonville every year, and had community affairs and the special, most of the specialty units, the area unit, K-9 unit, stuff like that. So really enjoyed my time in Jacksonville. Retired from there, was trying to come back to Clay County, but there wasn't really anything available here at the time. And then the city of Atlantic Beach called and said, would you be interested in talking to us about the chief of police job out here? So I went out to Atlantic Beach and was blessed to be picked up by them back in 2017. And just a wonderful, wonderful community. Really enjoyed it. A smaller community, which gave me a sense or a feel for what, policing in a small town, how it's different than policing in the big city of Jacksonville. But learned a lot, and just a wonderful, wonderful community. About a year, probably about 15 or 16 months ago now, when things started unfolding here in Clay County, I remember, just talking to my husband, hey, maybe I should run for sheriff in Clay, and then talking to my friends in Clay that I grew up with and my family in Clay, and sort of putting the message out there to see what the response would be. And I was so fortunate because the response was phenomenal. So right at a year ago, I retired from the Atlantic Beach Police Department as the chief of police, and I started campaigning full time. It was exhausting, but fun, because I was able to, come back to the county that I consider home. And although I loved Atlantic Beach, there's nothing bad I can say about that community. It just wasn't home for me. I belong here in Clay County. So August came around, won the primary election, and beat out the 5 other candidates in the primary on August 18th. And actually that night, the governor called me and said, can you start tomorrow? And I said, can I at least have a week? So he had an interim sheriff in by a gentleman by the name of Matt Walsh from FDLE. But, won the primary on a Tuesday, and Monday morning I was in the office here working on the budget. And I was very fortunate because I got a call from the Board of County Commissioners that basically said, we're going to decline the budget that had been presented. Would you like some time to look at it? So I sat down, and in a week's time, literally went through a budget that the previous administration had almost a year to prepare. So I hit the ground running. On September 1st, the governor went ahead and appointed me to complete the term from the previous sheriff. So I was appointed September 1. And, typically between the time you're elected till the time you normally would take office, you have a transition period. Well, I hit the ground running, and I was working and transitioning at the same time. Looking back, I wouldn't have done it any other way, because we really, I'm way ahead in the game. In addition to reworking the budget, had to address a lot of things here. I had 5 top level executives retire, which is not uncommon when a new sheriff comes in. We had the death of a very beloved sergeant here, and had to, lead the agency through that. We had a young deputy's wife passed away, and so we had to, work through that. And then in addition, we have a pandemic. So we had employees that were out sick, employees that were working from home. We had to work through all the issues at our detention center with all the inmates that were starting to test positive for COVID. So just a lot going on in addition to trying to set my own staff. One of the things that I am really proud of is that I invited subject matter experts from across the state to come in and literally go through every drawer and open up every door and talk to every person. Those subject matter experts spent over 300 hours here in the agency talking to people, looking at our policies, looking at our protocols, looking at our practices. And as they wrapped up their review, I briefed them out and then took notes on areas that we can improve, areas that were working well. And that really, those debriefs gave me a priority list of things to start addressing moving forward. So just excited about all the work that we did during that time. I was able to promote numerous people within the organization. I only brought in one person from outside, that is my undersheriff, because what I learned was that was important to the men and women who worked here, is they felt that they had, and rightfully so, invested their time and life and energy into the Clay County Sheriff's Office, and they wanted to have the opportunity to be put on the executive staff. So I conducted interviews of over 70 people that applied internally, and a few external people that applied. And from those candidates, I appointed a handful of executive staff members to my team, but I did bring in the undersheriff from outside. Ron Linvey is the undersheriff. He comes from a great history of law enforcement, and prior to coming here, he was the director of port security for Jacksport, but his knowledge of law enforcement is really second to none. So January 1, we put all of our new units in place. Everybody took their positions. So we have been rocking and rolling here for 21 days, and everything seems to be settling in. I did dissolve a few units that had been created, and I reconstituted a couple that had, that had gone away, but I thought should be brought back. But I didn't make any drastic changes to the Clay County Sheriff's Office. Those of you who go into an organization that has been struggling, many times there's change fatigue. And there was, what I sensed here and what I found from debriefing the subject matter experts is that the men and women who worked at the Clay County Sheriff's Office were experiencing change fatigue and really campaign exhaustion and campaign fatigue because of all of the drama that exists anytime there's a campaign, especially one that includes your boss and people that are trying to replace your boss. So made some changes, but nothing too drastic. I think the biggest thing is making sure that we had a proper span of control for our different areas, and that we had oversight in those key areas that are critical that tend to get law enforcement in trouble. So really focused on shoring that up. Any questions about that part? That's part one of the of my little talk here. The other two will go much quicker, but any questions about the how we got to where we're at today?
Seems pretty clear.
All right, hearing none, I am going to move forward. So we did a 2020.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I did have one. I was on mute. I'm sorry. So what is the size of the Clay County Sheriff's Office going into 2020? I mean, what's your budget, and what are your what's the number of officers and all that?
All right, it's funny that you asked. That's part of our 2020 year in review. So right now we're looking, we sit at about a $65 million budget. We have over 700 employees, with 282 of them being sworn. At the Sheriff's Office here, I also have the jail. So I have detention deputies, which are not counted in my sworn number. And then we have civilians, support personnel that do everything from our communications center to our crime scene investigators, to controllers in the jail, where areas where we could civilianize a position, we civilianized it. So We're about 750 employees total, with about 282 of them being sworn.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
There are two questions in the chat from Mason Dorsey. He asks, what are some of the new units created, and what issues in the county are they designed to address?
So the units that were created, the first one is the Fugitive Unit. This is fugitive / sex offender, sex predator unit. So under the previous administration, there was not a group of people who were solely tasked with serving felony warrants. So this is a group of folks who are tasked with serving felony warrants in the county, going out and finding those guys that are the worst of the worst. They also assist our robbery homicide unit if we're trying to pick up a violent subject. And when they're not doing that, they go out and personally check on our sexual offenders and sexual predators to make sure that they are in compliance with the rules that were set forth in their release. So they have to register. They have to, if it says they have to, register, they can't live within 1,000 feet of the school or whatever. These guys go out and verify all that. The purpose of that unit is twofold. One, studies show us that a small number of people are responsible for a majority of the crime. So if we can find and detain those who are statistically more likely to commit more crime because they already have an outstanding warrant, I want to put them behind bars. In addition, having a group of people whose job it is solely, to go out and check on the sex predators and the sex offenders, to me, I'm about protecting vulnerable populations, which are the children. And I want our sexual predators and our sexual offenders to know that we are making a very deliberate effort to check on them. So the Fugitive Unit was one unit that I put in place. The other units that are being put in place that aren't in place yet but are coming is a volunteer, a VIPS program. I think those that remember Sheriff Beasler had a VIPS program in place. So I'm reconstituting the VIPS program. And as soon as COVID starts to wane, we'll be very active about recruiting volunteers to come in and support the agency in the community. And then the other unit is a part-time deputy program. I found in my work, especially at the beach, hiring part-time deputies is a cost saver, and they can do a lot of the jobs out there that will allow the full-time deputies to spend more time on the street protecting the neighborhoods.
That's all we had in the chat.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to do the 2020 year in review just to give you guys some perspective of the amount of work that goes on here. Our agency members handled 244,200 calls for service in Clay County. We handled over 20,000 911 calls. So that was about 670 calls per day for police service. Now that doesn't count the people who call my cell phone number or call a desk number and ask for help, and then we refer help to them. That is just capturing the calls that are coming in through our communication center or that our deputies on view. So that's over 244,000 calls for police service, 670 a day. So it gives you an idea how busy we are. We cover 644 square miles, and we made over 4,500 arrests in 2020. Now this is a number that I want you to keep in mind. Of those 4,500 arrests, we had 47 that required use of force. So less than 1% of or about 1% of our arrests required force. Force is a reality of police work, and anybody who tries to tell you that you can reason with everybody out there has never donned a uniform. But we pride ourselves on being servant and community focused driven, and really you know, making sure that de-escalation is what we do every single day. It's not, you know, it's not, we're going to take a de-escalation class and de-escalate. It's just how we do business here. So of the over 4,500 arrests, we had 47 that required use of force. We had 0 deputy involved shootings. And you know, another number I'm very proud of is we had, you know, 24 internal affairs complaints, which is really good considering that we put 4,500 people in jail and answered over, you know, 240,000 calls for service. We, our per deputy ratio. Now, I'm not counting Orange Park and I'm not counting Green Cove when I give you this number because they have officers who serve their small communities, but our per county, per deputy ratio is 1.24 to deputies per 1,000 residents. To put that in perspective, the state ratio is 1.71. So we're already about a half a deputy behind on our per 1,000 ratio, but they do a good job. Our average daily inmate population for 2020 was 436 inmates under our custody and control. And if you have never thought about our jail or the detention center, it's really a small city with 450 people who live there. We have to feed them. We have to provide them clothing. We have to provide them medical. We have to make arrangements for them to appear in court. We have to make arrangements for them to meet with their lawyers, their families. So it really is a small city, and our average jail population for 2020 was 436 daily. We had almost 24,000 public records requests in 2020. That is a huge number of requests that have to be processed. So this is everything from people asking for a police report to asking for any sort of documents that they think that we have or we do have. It's a lot. That's a lot of public records requests. And then finally, you know, there is a you know, drug problem in Clay County. And we were able to get a large amount of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine, which I consider the more prominent or dangerous drugs off the street. So that's 2020, and I can email you guys this sheet. You're in reviews. Anybody have any questions about those numbers? All right, moving on. Last but not least, what are our 2021 priorities? I'm really excited about the direction that we're going in here at the Clay County Sheriff's Office. Our number one priority is we have to prepare for growth. You know, on average, if you average out the population that we're expecting to move into Clay County over the next 10 years, it's about 10,000 people a year we're adding to the numbers here. So if you think about the growth that's coming, 2 things I have to keep in mind. One, all of the people that are coming in to start to build these neighborhoods, all the contractors, all the traffic, all of that, I have to provide public safety. I have to provide law enforcement services to those folks, but I'm not recognizing any tax revenue yet because we don't have people, you know, living in those homes to paying the ad valorem taxes, which then come into my budget. So I'm going to have a period of time where the growth is really going to outpace the number of personnel that we have here to serve them. So how do we prepare for that? Well, I've got sort of 3 prongs to that preparing for growth. One is I've got to be very deliberate about recruiting. We are already short-staffed when it comes to the sworn deputy side. And to keep our current ratio of police officers per 1,000, I've got to add an additional 10 bodies per year. Now, I don't know if there's any commissioners on here, but I need more money for people. But I have to do my pitch for money, sorry. But that's just, you know, I have to add 10 deputies per year on top of my number just to keep up with what we have now. So we have to be very deliberate about recruiting. If you look at our social media, we're doing sort of subliminal recruiting when we do hometown heroes, meet our members, just highlighting the employees and the jobs within the organization that people may have an interest in so that we can recruit them. You know, the other thing too is Clay County is becoming more diverse, and to effectively provide law enforcement services to your community, your agency has to reflect that diversity. And that's reality. So we have to be aware of the types of people that are moving to Clay County and go into those communities and be very deliberate about recruiting from those communities so that our agency reflects our community. The second point to preparing for growth is technology. You know, where can we leverage technology? Camera systems are a big push for us because I can put a camera up in an area at a much cheaper rate than a deputy. Now it's not going to, you know, ultimately replace the deputies that are needed, but it can help supplement and help create an omnipresence within the community where, you know, if we have cameras near Orange Park Mall, now I can have one person keeping an eye on Orange Park Mall instead of having deputies, you know, riding the area. So we're leveraging technology. And then the third part of that preparing for growth is, you know, internally our processes. Where can we be more efficient? Where can we be more customer service friendly, not only to ourselves, but to our external users? And there are processes that we can improve right now that'll make things easier moving forward. The second priority for 2021 is, you know, building relationships. There were a lot of relationships that were thrown off kilter over the last few years. So we are, you know, that is something that I talk to my folks about daily, is build a relationship. First of all, let's build a relationship internally with each other, because that makes, you know, life easier. Let's build a relationship with our community leaders so that if there is a question or an issue or a rumor, they can pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, I heard this. And then finally, and most importantly, really building relationships with our community. We sometimes get caught up in being busy, that, you know, you have to, again, be deliberate about taking the time to build a relationship. You know, there's a statement, there's a saying out there that says you can't build a relationship in a crisis. And I truly believe that. And I also believe that relationships have to be built on trust and grace and genuineness. And that takes time. So being deliberate about building relationships with each other, our leaders, and our community. And then finally, the third priority for us for 2021 is, you know, driving down crime. Now, fortunately, and it's not official yet, but it appears that our 2020 crime numbers are down. I do put a lot of that, you know, on the pandemic. I think the pandemic is really across the nation driven a lot of the crime down, but we are seeing crime going down some in Clay County, not a huge numbers, but, you know, definitely moving in the right direction. So we want to continue that trend of driving down crime by being smart and nimble with our resources, by putting deputies in the places where the crime is happening, and being much more responsive. You know, unfortunately in our industry, historically, once a deputy was assigned a beat, they just stayed on that beat, right? And we were slow to identify and move resources to an area that is having trouble. So, you know, I want real-time information on who's having issues, and then we take deputies and we move them over there to help drive down those crime numbers, figure out who's, you know, committing the crime, and putting those bad guys in jail. But for me, you know, driving down crime with an emphasis on protecting our seniors and our kids. You know, if we can't protect our most vulnerable population from crime, then we're really not doing our job. So, you know, priorities for 2021: prepare for growth, build relationships, and drive down crime. And with that, I will take questions.
Hey, Michelle, I have a question for you. So,
Yes, sir.
is there anything that absolutely shocked you coming into the department as far as what your expectations were, either in the sheriff's office itself or in the community, or is it pretty much what you expected to inherit?
Pretty much what I expected. You know, growing up here, and you know, the vast majority of my family and my husband's family lives here in Clay, so there was nothing that shocked me. And quite honestly, with the exception of a pandemic situation within the jail, everything that's been handed to me or put in front of me, I've seen before. So it's just a matter of working through it.
And I think we should all, let's get emails out to Sella and the rest of the group asking for more money from Michelle's department.
That's what I like.
Here's Mike Sella's cell phone number. Everybody call him today.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, listen, and I'll say this, I am a financial conservative by nature. I don't like to spend money for the sake of spending money. And so, it's when I go before the commission or I ask for anything, it's going to be a very thought out, researched, one of the things that I tell people around here, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Let's not make it worse than it is. Let's not make it better than it is. It is what it is. So, for me, it's about, I have to prepare a compelling vision of what we need and be able to back that up with facts. And so that's my job of, asking for stuff moving forward.
Anybody else have any questions for Michelle?
There were some questions in the chat. So there was one asking from Whitney, have you seen a significant increase in opioid use and how are you handling it if so?
Yes, so opioids have been around for a while. Unfortunately, it is a plague that is affecting most communities. And I know that our agency is working in partnership with the health department and the fire department on the getting people off the opioids. Do we have it here? Yes. Is it any worse or any better than anywhere else? No, we had it at Atlantic Beach. It is here, but I wouldn't say it's any worse or any better than anywhere else. It's about the same from what I've seen and from what I've heard from other communities in this area.
Thank you. And Michelle asks, how are you working with the Clay School District Police Force?
I was on the phone with Chief Wagner yesterday. I know Chief Wagner pretty well, and prior to running for sheriff, I'd actually gone into the Clay County School Board Police Department and Guardian Program to do some training with them. I travel the country through an organization funded by the Department of Justice, teaching active shooter incident management. So about a year and a half ago, they had asked me to come in. So, and I've also worked some Special Olympic fundraisers with the group. We have a great working relationship right now. My goal moving forward is that we'll have a great training relationship and start, once COVID sort of, winds down and we can get back to some sense of normalcy, putting our people in the room together to train together.
Keith asks, what safeguards will you have in place to ensure the increased use of cameras will not be abused?
That's a great question. So our cameras will be, actually most of our cameras, a good number of our cameras, let me not say most because I don't know the exact number, are companies that already have camera systems in place that they give us access to. So we don't own the footage. We just see it as it's passing through, and like some of the gas stations put up cameras, we have access to it. So all of the cameras are in public domains, and a good number of the cameras are cameras that businesses already have in place. We just access them so that if we have an incident, we can either go back and look, or if we have a tip that something's happening. And I'll give you a success story. We had a young woman who stated that she had been kidnapped from a gas station. And so they went back and the business pulled the footage for us. And you see her going up to the person that she claimed kidnapped her, hugging him, and then walking around the other side of the car, opening up the door herself and getting in. So we were able to save a whole lot of money and a whole lot of angst by just very quickly proving that that didn't happen. I am sensitive to privacy. Very sensitive to privacy. And so, the cameras are not something that people will just be able to randomly watch. It'll be a select group of people who do it for a specific reason in public areas.
Great. And Molly asks, our youth is wary of law enforcement. How do you plan to engage youth, especially teenagers, into press law enforcement?
So we just got a TikTok app, app, or whatever you call it, the TikTok platform. Unfortunately, one of the weaknesses of law enforcement in general is communicating. Like we get so kind of caught up in what we're doing, we don't take the time to communicate. That again, it has to be very deliberate. So we have a PALA program, which I'm looking to build on in the future. We have my young PIO. I have a younger one and an older one, convinced me to let us do TikTok because that's where all the kids are. So I asked my kids where all the kids at, and they said TikTok. So you know, we have to go to their level and communicate to them and with them that you know, we are here to serve. We are here to serve them. We are, you know, we are not all bad guys. You know, I've probably led in total 4,000 or 5,000 officers throughout my career, and the vast majority of them are doing the right thing every day under extremely difficult circumstances, making split-second decisions. And unfortunately, there's a few that make the wrong decision, and those get highlighted a lot. So we just have to, you know, sort of build our case that law enforcement is a friend of the youth, and we're here for the youth to serve and protect them as well.
Appreciate that. Mason asks, what relationship do you see between the churches and CCSO? Will the ministerial association led by Chaplain Doug Maddie continue?
Oh, I'm super excited about this. So I am continuing our faith leaders group. In fact, I have a meeting with a small number of them in a week just to go over what they were doing and what we'd like for them to do. One of the things I'm most excited about, though, is we are reaching out. We've got one down and we're getting ready to do our second, and then we'll formally announce. Once we get our processes worked out, we'll formally announce it. But I have a small group of deputies who work with church security groups to prepare for any sort of incident. And then we have our deputies who ride that area, come and walk through the churches and meet the church security teams and the pastors. And again, you know, even though we're planning for something bad, right? We're spending time with each other and building relationships. So we just did our first church. We're getting ready to do our second church, and then we're going to open it up to other churches if they want to partake in it. And as far as the faith leaders group, you know, moving forward, I'm going to continue that. I'd like to expand what they do to maybe some, I don't want to say mental health counseling, but, you know, being available to our deputies who often struggle with what they've seen and heard, and having a group of faith leaders who our deputies can call upon if they are struggling personally with something. And I think that, again, that'll just continue to build that relationship.
Right. Heather asks, are there any specific plans to increase CIT training for officers?
So we actually go above and beyond here with CIT. Our members get the formal CIT training. We also have had the mental health first aid that came out a couple of years ago. CIT is, and this is what I try to convey to people, taking a one-time CIT class doesn't really give you the skills. That's a perishable skill. So you got to keep training moving forward. And then for us, we have to deliver it in different platforms, sort of focusing on different things. So, you know, how do you deal with an 8-year-old who's autistic, who's keeps running away, versus a, you know, 25-year-old male paranoid schizophrenic who's standing naked in the middle of the street wanting to fight everybody, right? So one CIT class doesn't cover all of that. So our ability and to deal with those who are having some sort of mental health crisis is something that is ongoing. It's continuous. It may not be called CIT. It may be called, you know, how to talk to somebody who's got schizophrenia, but it's ongoing. It's absolutely always, it's something that we talk about a lot because we, you know, in my lifetime in law enforcement, the amount of calls that we're getting that involve a mental health crisis are skyrocketing. And, you know, it used to be that we dealt with bad guys, like, you know, somebody commits a burglary and you put them in jail. Now I'm dealing with the naked guy in the middle of the street who's paranoid schizophrenic wanting to fight cars. They never told me I was going to deal with that when I signed up here, but that's the reality for our deputies today. And so that training is ongoing.
Deborah asked, do you have any programs that will come into the schools and speak to the kids? She reached out and she's just wondering what the response is there.
We're still evaluating that because the school, the primary responders or servants to the school is the Clay County School Board Police. So we're still trying to work out what that looks like. If somebody requests a talk, you know, it should probably go to the Clay County School Board first for an opportunity to do it. And if they can't, then it is sent over to us to handle. You know, that is their arena. That's what they get paid to do. So we want to make sure that we're supporting them how we best can. And that's actually on my to-do list to talk with Kenny Wagner about what that should look like moving forward.
All right, there's a couple more questions. There was a discussion during town hall meetings in September regarding more body cameras for officers. How do you see the expansion of body cameras?
I need $6 million to start a body camera program.
Wow.
Philosophically,
All right, so Cella's number is 904.
right? Yeah, philosophically, not opposed to body cameras at all. Not opposed to them at all. Actually, I brought them out to Atlantic Beach when I was out there, and they're still in the implementation process. Body cameras are very, very expensive. And I don't think people realize the amount of money it takes to equip an agency this size with body cameras. And it's not about the camera. It's now about the storage of the video. It's about all the public records requests for the video. It's about the redaction of the things that are protected statutorily from the video. It's all of those other ancillary things that cost, and you have to create an entire unit just to support body cameras. So our startup, we did a quick look, and our startup cost for body cameras would be about $6 million with an ongoing line item budget of about $1.5 to $2 million a year just to support it. Now, again, I'm not opposed to body cameras. If somebody handed me $6 million, I'd do it tomorrow. The challenge I have right now is that I'm already half a deputy behind in my per 1,000 ratio. I'm in a county that's growing very, very fast, and I need to put bodies on the street. You know, so what is the priority? Do you want somebody who's going to respond quickly when you call 911, or do you want your deputy with a body camera? And that's the balance that I'm having to face right now is if we weren't already half a deputy behind in our per 1,000 ratio, I'd probably be leaning towards body cameras. But if we get more behind in our per deputy per 1,000 ratio, we are literally not going to have enough deputies to respond to calls for service. So if anybody has a checkbook out and would like to write me a $6 million check, but not opposed to body cameras, I like them. They most of the time prove the officer did the right thing. So I would actually like to have a body camera program here.
And I do just want to give props to Stephanie for clarifying for anyone not reading the chat that the question referring to CIT earlier was crisis intervention. And then Whitney just followed that up with how can we learn more about CIT?
Yeah, so the CIT training, the crisis intervention training is that ongoing training conversations that we do every day about dealing with people with mental health illness. So our deputies have had the 40-hour CIT class. That's pretty standard. They've had the mental health first aid, but again, you know, it's the ongoing training. One class is not going to prepare our deputies for what they're going to face. It is a continuous conversation and learning environment here at CCSO about how to deal with people that are in a mental health crisis.
And I see Andre has a hand up, so if you want to unmute Andre.
Yes. Good morning, Sheriff Cook.
Good morning.
We from the Clay SafetyNet Alliance see a very crucial partnership between the SafetyNet Alliance and the Sheriff's Office, because we one of our objectives is to collect and record the social service agencies in the county. And so what we did with the previous administration, I worked with the chiefs to go to the 911 dispatchers and to make our resource lists available to them, because they get so many unusual questions. And if they had the resources on their fingertips, they can easily disseminate that information. We also did presentations to the sheriff deputies at their briefings, and we handed out the resource list to all the sheriff's deputies so that they could actually have, this information. So you see, this monthly meeting keeps the finger on the pulse of who is and who is not providing social services in the county. So we would love to, forge a very close working relationship with the Sheriff's Office from the Clay SafetyNet.
Absolutely. And honestly, I'm not opposed to, if we make it a yearly thing that we put on the calendar where you guys come back in and reemphasize what's available. Because, if you think about, whether it's dispatchers or deputies, they are inundated every day with information. You have the calls for service, you have law changes, you have case law changes, you have the deputy supervisor that wants something this way. I mean, they're just absolutely inundated. So a gentle reminder on a yearly basis where you guys come in and provide the updated list, remind them again that the service is available is probably a good thing to do.
Sounds great.
I think along those same lines, as inmates from the jail re-enter the community, I think that a number of our member agencies can and actually are of help. I know that we're looking at coordinating medical care for offenders that will soon be ex-offenders. And I think that whole opportunity for re-entry support from our safety net is a very important item.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely. Anything that this group can do to help folks in our community from reoffending, because in order to offend, that means there's a victim. So, by helping the offenders, we're preventing victims. And so anything that this group can do to help in that mission is, welcomed with open arms.
That's it, Cal?
Yep, that's all the questions in the chat.
All right, so before we move on, I just want to say, Michelle, I can't wait for your first TikTok dance. Make sure you get that out here as quickly as possible. And I want to thank you personally for this get out of jail free card that you gave me. And I have that going for me, which I appreciate very much.
And I'd like to thank you for your donation to our Police Athletic League. I'll be coming to get the check soon, Ernie.
I'm on my way. Michelle, great job. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate you. And we're so excited to see where we move forward with you guys. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Carillon, you're up.
Sounds good. This is the Meet the Need session. Before I go there, I wanted to inform and or remind Michelle, by the way, great job this morning, that for many years, we would have a couple officers in our Clay SafetyNet meeting just to keep tabs on what's going on in our world. And we would welcome you to send one or two people every third Thursday at 8:30 a.m. so that they could kind of help bridge the gap back into your people. Anyways, this is the Meet the Need people. If you have a particular need, we want you to share it. You can audibly do it. Absolutely put it in the chat session. If you can answer that person's particular need, as an example of some needs, waste not, want not, they always need plastic bags and paper bags to deliver food in. Perhaps you have an organization that needs volunteers, and on the flip side, maybe you've got some youth that need volunteer hours. So we put those two people together. Maybe you've got a family that just had an unfortunate fire and they need some appliances. And over here at XYZ Methodist Church, you've got some appliances to help out. So this is an exciting time. We've answered a lot of needs. And so if you have a particular need, please shout it out. And if you can help that person in the need, please answer it. And definitely, again, put that back into the chat session so that we can formalize this. Thank you very much.
Hey, Mark, this is Joyce Case from the Health Planning Council. I have a need for a someone who is a good tax advisor for a consumer who, a tax advisor that not only understands taxes, but understands the Affordable Care Act and how it impacts the someone filing taxes. I have a woman that is 64 years old that needs assistance. She is a caregiver for her 18-month-old grandson because her son is in prison for opioid possession and distribution, and the mom of the baby is also in treatment in a northern state, and so she's left with this 18-month-old baby, and we need to figure out how she does her taxes so that she can get the most tax benefit in claiming this child, but at the same time keeps her tax credit for her affordable insurance. So that's what I need. I need a tax professional, and they need to be free.
Who else has a need?
Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I work for a missions camp. It's kind of hard to explain. I work for a missions camp called Team Effort Youth Group Mission Trips. And so what that means is we have hundreds of volunteers come into Clay County every year in June and July specifically. And so I have a couple needs for that. One being we need a camp cook. Which I know is very specific because it's only 2 months out of the year. But we do need someone to help provide meals for all these volunteers we have coming in. And that's not a full-time position because we only need 2 meals a day prepared for them. But I can give, if you know of anyone, a lot more information on that. And then on the other side of that, if you know of anyone who needs home repair, we would love to reach out to them and to see if it's something we can do. Now, I'm not going to say we can do everything. We don't do plumbing or electrical, but we can do roofing, wheelchair ramps, drywall. We do a lot. We can meet a lot of needs with the volunteers that we come in and train. So if you, I don't know what the best way to put my information out. I can put my email in the chat if we think that's a good idea. Yeah, okay, so I see some head nods, so I'll do that. But yeah, if y'all know anyone who has any home repair needs, I would love to reach out to them and to see if this is something that we accomplish. I know a big issue a lot of times is that they don't meet tax requirements, or they haven't met the last 2 payments on their house or whatever it is. We don't really look into that. We don't have red tape when it comes to that. So we're able to kind of help people that like Habitat for Humanity or the Salvation Army can help. So.
Great.
Hi guys, this is Wade Davis from Lutheran Social Services. I definitely have someone that needs home repair needs as well, but most of my clients are homeless or they have mental issues as far as mental capacity. So I was wondering if there's possibility of being emailed a list of services that everyone can offer and help, and I could share my resources as well, so maybe that we can have kind of a resource guide, because I had never heard about the actual home repair service, and that sounds incredible.
Hey, Andre, is that resource guide that was printed by More Than Ink? Is that available electronically?
I believe that is downloadable from our website.
Thank you.
And you can also call Mercy Support Services call center for, we are a resource referral center. So pretty much everything that goes on in the county, we are somewhat familiar with. Our number is, I'll put it in the chat so you can call.
Anybody else?
Good morning. This is Jacinda Liggins with Aging True. I do also have a need. Representing Aging True, Duval and Clay now, we do have grandparents that are raising grandchildren. So even with the young lady that mentioned the tax need this morning, even though I can't directly help with the tax need, we do offer services for grandparents that are raising children under the age of 18. The grandparent just has to be 55 years of age or older. And so my greatest need is recruitment. We are looking to expand the program in all the counties. And so whether it's things like tutoring, sitter services, we offer camperships. These are the programs that we need to also expand on. But like I said, recruitment is the main need. And so if you know anyone that is of that age and that's raising a grandchild or a grandniece, it's any relative that's under the age of 18, we would love to get their information and enroll them in our program and see how we can assist them. And then of course, as the sheriff mentioned, we can always do more with more. And so if you have tutors that you know, if you have some vendors that you know that could assist us, we'd love to possibly partner with them.
My name is Angie Miller, and I'm with the Center for Independent Living in Jacksonville, Florida. And we serve one of the 5 counties that we service, Clay County, and we service individuals with disabilities. And a lot of what we do is to help them to become more independent. So we have services that are like employment and information and referral. We also have people that can help individuals to figure out, they work with the Social Security Administration to figure out if they can still work and maintain their benefits. We have, you know, a youth program. We have a number of different services that are available. So thanks to Amanda, who's also a part of my organization, who's on this call, I thought about you guys. So basically, I'm the information referral specialist. And so what I'm in need of is we right now have a grant to have some list different issues that are confronting individuals with disabilities or the elderly population in the counties that we serve. And we are going to be having these sessions via Zoom. And they will probably start around April. So I'm looking for people to participate in these sessions. So if you guys know of anyone or any particular, or can we get our dates in line? And obviously I would love to continue to come participate in this meeting. So thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Lori McMullen, the Development Director with Aging True. Thanks, Jacinda, for sharing your need. I'm not sure if Francine Castillo is on the on the Zoom. Interrupt me if you are, but Francine is in our department and manages a caregiver relief program. And that, again, is for anyone who is caring for someone who is 60 or older out there. We have a need for volunteers to help provide some respite, and it is stipended, and we need to grow that in Clay County. We came on board in Clay County, as you know, about a year or so ago, and we need to buoyant that up, but also in Duval County. And majority of the caregivers, the person they're caring for is part of Aging True in some capacity, case managed, what have you. But we can't go outward in with referrals. So there may be a family who's not part of Aging True who wants to partake in getting a volunteer like that. So it's two-pronged there. So you can reach out to us and we can hook you up with that information too.
Excellent. Anybody else?
Hello, this is Janet Dickinson. I'm from Elder Source, and one of our providers is Aging True in this area, but we also have resources and other providers in different counties that can provide assistance with referrals. We also have some programs that we can connect you with to get the rental assistance and repair assistance. So the way to reach us is in the chat, but it's also our Aging and Disability Resource Line. And that phone number is 1-888-242-4464. Thank you.
Great. Well, perhaps it's time to go over to Callan for some project updates.
Hey everyone, we're gonna go through a quick couple of updates here. I'm gonna start with the Clay Health Department. So Heather Huffman or another on the line.
Yes, Sydney Marlowe is with us this morning.
Hi guys. So I'm the health strategist for the Department of Health here in Clay County. I'm filling in for Heather today. Few updates, as I'm sure you guys are aware, we are currently working with the County Board of Commissioners, the Sheriff's Office, and the EOC here to run the vaccination site over at the fairgrounds. It's been going extremely well. We vaccinated a little under 3,000 individuals already. So we're very proud of the work we're doing. We've, gotten really good feedback, and we're hoping soon, right now we're operating under the governor's orders of vaccinating individuals over the age of 65, or if they're healthcare workers. We're hoping soon to, hopefully expand our efforts. The other update I wanted to give you guys, to jump off a little bit from this morning's discussion, Clay County has now launched a paramedicine program to help tackle the opioid epidemic here in Clay County. And that's in partnership with Clay County Fire Rescue, the Sheriff's Office, Clay Behavioral Health Center. We're all kind of in on it together. So if you need the number for that, we have a referral form and then a number. If you guys know of anyone in need, we are offering, or Clay County Fire Rescue is offering, medicated assisted therapy. So, definitely reach out to me. I put my email in the chat and I can give you those resources. And that's what's going on over here.
Thank you, Sydney. Next up is Stephanie with the Clay Action Coalition update.
Hi, I'll try to be quick. Also in partnership with some of the work going on in the community for the reduction of opioid overdoses and the harms related to substance use in our community. We are still continuing our DTERA program. These are drug deactivation kits. Sorry, my phone decided to ring right now. These are drug deactivation kits that we can provide free of charge to community members. We received right after Christmas about 2,000 of them. I have given out I've given out a couple of hundred. I have 500 going to the Substance Exposed Newborn Task Force. They'll be put in packets for new moms. I had the assistant chief over the patrol officers for the Clay County Sheriff's Office expressed an interest in getting them into the hands of patrol deputies because they get calls about the need to dispose of prescription drug medications. So we really just want to get these drugs out of people's homes so they are not diverted into the community by youth or people who are drug seeking. So I have those. My information is in the chat, but feel free to contact me here at my office at 272-6413 if you're interested in receiving some of these packets. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the behavioral health update. Is Irene on today?
I am on. Good morning. So I actually was not at the last behavioral health work group meeting, but they continue to work on their goals of decreasing substance misuse, in Clay County youth, decreasing the death by suicide rate in Clay County, and increasing behavioral health care coordination for at-risk populations. And I believe a lot of work has been done in the last month on really developing that resource list. We've talked a lot about resource lists today. Developing that resource and information list for folks needing behavioral health services or resources. So that is in the works and should be, if not out yet, it will be available soon.
Great, thank you. It looks like I'm next on the list. So hey everyone, Callum with the Nonprofit Center of Northeast Florida. Just want to remind all of you that are social service agencies, nonprofits, that we do offer Clay specific trainings and events throughout the year. So for all of you, it can be for staff members, board members, key volunteers of your organizations. All of the trainings are free, and so you can check out our calendar at nonprofitctr.org. I'll drop a link in the chat, but actually this year we're kicking off at the end of this month with a board chair and CEO retreat, so excited to have that going on for a couple of organizations. And then throughout the year we do things like logic model, communication, some fundraising, all different kinds of programs. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll put my info in the chat. But next up is Gabrielle Gunn with the Impact Clay update. Is Gabby on?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Good morning. We have a lot going on for Impact Clay. Our next executive roundtable meeting is in February, and at that meeting, we will be presenting 2 new projects that were submitted right before the end of the year last year. We have both projects have been approved by the Project Advisory Council after their presentations. One of them has a stipulation of it's contingent upon having a fiscal agent. If you are interested in being a fiscal agent for this project, please let me know. You can contact me. I'll put my information in the chat. And the other project, I can't really talk about them until they've been approved fully by the Executive Roundtable, but we are very excited about both projects that are going to positively impact Clay County. If you are interested in submitting a project application, please do so on our website. We are still looking on getting a pipeline together for the next year. So if anyone's interested in submitting a project, we would greatly appreciate that. And we have our other 2 projects that we are still working on. The Food for Clay County project is has a new, we're going to be transitioning to a new project lead for as Challenge Enterprise. So we are working on a project outline and gray sky versus blue skies times, and how that's going to be proactive within Clay County. We have a lot of things going on with that project that I can't share yet, but there is it's going to be amazing, the new partnerships that we have with the county and the organizations that are going to help many people. And then we are still waiting on the funding for the Clay Pass project. And so if anybody has any connections with Florida Blue, we would greatly like to get that grant so that that project can stay on track with their timeline. Other than that, if you want to learn more about Impact Clay and what we're all about, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My number is 904-327-7332. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Gabby. And the last update is from AHEC. Is Trish on the line? Anyone else with AHEC today?
I don't think she is.
Okay, so then I think that's all of our updates. So over to you, Ernie.
All right, so the last thing we do before we leave here normally is give you guys an opportunity to talk about any events, any information that you want to share specifically about your organization. I know that there's not a whole lot of live stuff going on, which is usually the majority of these discussions. But if you've got something live that you're planning, or if you've got something virtual that you want to share with the group, any events you have coming up, now would be the time.
Hi, Ernie. This is Joyce Case from the Health Planning Council. I have two things. The Health Planning Council has been tasked by the Jacksonville Hospital Partnership to do the community health needs assessment for the hospitals. So you may be contacted as a key stakeholder that we would want to interview for that process. It's going to be quick. The report's due in June. So I wanted to let everybody know that you might be contacted by one of our planning partners to help us complete this community health needs assessment. That will be beneficial to everybody in writing grants and all those other kind of good things. The other thing I want to talk about, of course, is the Aca Navigator Program. Although open enrollment is closed, it closed December 15th, and I'll be able to provide y'all with numbers probably in March about how many people we actually enrolled in Florida. But special enrollment period is now going on. So if you know anybody who meets the requirements for a special enrollment period, either they've lost their health insurance, they've been recently released from incarceration, they've recently received their citizenship, they've got increased income out of Medicaid. Don't worry about that. Just contact me. You don't need to know all the ins and outs of that, but we can help people get health insurance at a really reasonable cost. And I'll put all that information in the chat. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hey everyone, this is Rachel Walker from Clay County Adult and Community Education. I'm the transition specialist out here. I just wanted to let everybody know that we are still running GED classes and running our ESOL program. Our GED classes, we now have an online option. And so, if you know of people that are not quite comfortable going back brick and mortar to get their GED, we now have that online option. They can take online classes. Our ESOL classes are still in person. Registration for both, like I said, is open, and it's done completely online. So they don't even have to come into our facilities to actually register and pay anymore. So the other thing is 911 dispatch. We are starting a new class on March 15th. It is being taught by Harold Rutledge. You may remember him running for sheriff as well. This is all online too. And it's about 2 months worth of classes. Students meet one night a week on Google Classroom. And then they come out after 2 months, 911 dispatch certified as a public safety telecommunicator. So I'll put the link to where if you have people interested in registering for GED or ESOL classes in the chat, and also the one for 911 dispatch as well.
Thanks, Rach. All right, so I see the CEO of the year has her hand up. Way to work the system, Toto. What's up?
I was waiting my turn. I just wanted to let y'all know, many of you may have received an invite to the virtual roundtable event that's happening this afternoon, 1 o'clock. It's called An Act of Good Faith, and it's part of the governor's faith and community-based initiative. If you didn't get an invite or you're interested, it's a virtual community roundtable. It'll be conducted through Zoom. The topic is really getting faith-based communities involved with the child welfare system in many ways. It's not just recruitment for foster parents, it's really seeing how we can work together as community partners and the faith-based communities. So if you're interested and you didn't get an invite, I'm happy to send you the Zoom link. I should tell you who's on there. First Lady DeSantis is hosting the event. Tony Dungy with his All Pro Dads organization will be part of it. Secretary Popple from DCF, and I'm missing somebody. Chris Tomlin, who's a singer and activist, advocate for foster care. So it should be a good event. They've been doing them around the state. This is specific to Clay County, and the reviews from the past roundtables have been very good. So I really encourage you to go. It's 45 minutes, and you just have to register. So I'm going to send. The easiest thing for me to do is I'll send my email in the chat. And if you are interested, just shoot me an email and I will make sure you get the link. Thanks.
Thanks, Irene. Anybody else?
St. Leo is doing some CIT virtual training. So thanks to Michelle for warming you guys all up and telling you what that is. They are based on first responders as far as the education training goes. But if any of you guys in the field would like to join us, the topics are unconscious bias, de-escalation, resiliency, and suicide prevention. Obviously, that does really well in human services just as well as criminal justice. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to throw all of that information in the link. They're all virtual, so everybody can keep their safe distance.
Thanks, Ms. Tricia. Anybody else have anything they got coming up?
Yes, hi, this is Susan Atwell. I'm the CEO of Quigley House, and we do actually have a live event coming. It is a bike run, motorcycles that is, on Saturday, February 20th. We'll start at the Clay County Courthouse and end at Whitey's Fish Camp. And the entry fee is 1 bottle of wine per person. Of course, they're not riding with the wine. They're donating it at the beginning as we ramp up toward our wine gala in April. So the participants will receive a free appetizer and drink specials from Whitey.
So Susan, are you riding the lead bike?
No, I am not.
You need to be riding the lead bike.
No, I'm past that point in my life. I will drive my car.
I believe
Very
Christy
good.
has something.
Christy Fitzgerald, I know you got something, Christy.
Hey, Ernie, thank you. Hey, everybody. Good to see you this morning. The Shepherd Center has their Golden Years Gala coming up in May. And at that event, we honor seniors who volunteer in the community, anyone 60 years of age or older. We're accepting nominations in the area of Lifetime Achievement, Man of the Year, and Woman of the Year. I know this has been an odd year for all of us with volunteers, but I do know lots of us have had amazing volunteers that help keep our organizations going during this pandemic. So in the chat, I have a link to the email that has the nomination in there with more information in the email. I know I put that in the chat at some place, and I appreciate you guys and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Why aren't you allowing me to defend my title this year? Can't I do it again?
You can defend your title. You know, Ernie was Man of the Year last year. We had to make him wear pants though for the awards. And
Christy, I got Irene on this call. You got to be careful what you say.
I
She didn't say what kind of pants.
All of your secrets.
Thanks, Christy. Anybody else have anything about any events or any announcements they have come up about their group?
Amy Parker has put something in the chat from the Reinhold Foundation. Celebrate Clay applications are available now and due by February the 2nd. She has a link to that application.
Very good. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Whitney. I'm new to the group and I just really wanted to say hi. I'm with Groups Recover Together. We're an outpatient.
Oh my God, is this Whitney Houston?
That's right.
Oh my God.
You'll never forget my name.
No, I never will.
Never in a million years. It's great because people never forget, so it's good. I'm with an addiction treatment center called Groups Recover Together. We're outpatient, but I'm really impressed with this group. I have to say, I've worked all over the state of Florida, and this group is like pretty amazing. I am really honored, honestly, to be in it with you guys. This is like phenomenal to watch you guys work. I'm really impressed. So I'm super excited to be a part of the community, and I just wanted to say hi.
Well, you're only on probation with this group for another 60 days, so we're looking forward to you becoming an official member. Thanks, Whitney. Anybody else have anything else I got to share?
We've got 2 minutes.
All right. All right, so before I turn it back over to Don, thank you all for making the effort to be here this morning. It was so good seeing you all. Hopefully sometime in the near future, we'll be able to actually get together and meet in person. Our next meeting is next month on February 18th, which is always the third Thursday of the month, so the 18th of February. Looking forward to getting you guys back together again. Spread the word about this group so we can continue growing it, and with that, I will turn it back over to Don.
And with that, I would love for Patrick to close us with prayer.
And I'd be happy to. I'm sorry, my cuckoo clock is going, so give it a couple more rings. Just a quick update on Mercy Support Services. We were able to help over 177 families last year to stay in their homes, pay their rent and utility bills. And I think there's some additional funds available, and we might be working again with the county. We facilitated that process, helping the county to spend $606,000 to help those folks over almost a 6-month period. Mercy is in the process of raising funds to build a 65 apartment complex on the property we purchased there on College, and look forward to that going up. Just those of you who are praying people, please pray for us, because the Lord knows where the money is, and ask him to tell us where to find it. So with that, let's pray. Father, we thank you. Thank you for this wonderful time this morning. Thank you for all the information that has been shared, and for those who are on this this Zoom, Lord God, we know that there's so many people who have need in our county, and we thank you for each person who spend their time and feel called to meet those needs, Lord. We thank you for our presenter, Michelle, and we pray that the deputies in our county will be safe. We, as praying people, should pray over them daily for their safety as they do their job. We thank you for that. And Lord, guide us through today, lead us to the people that we need to serve. And thank you for each person here. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Patrick. And thanks to everyone for participating. We hope to see you again next month, and spread the word, tighten the net. Thank you.
Amen. Bye.